We finally asked the one question on our mind. Who's big balls?
It's me.
That should be obvious.
Why do they call you big balls?
I just said it as my LinkedIn username.
Okay.
Well, people on LinkedIn take themselves like super seriously, and they're pretty adverse to risk. And I was like, well, I want to be neither of those things. So I said it, and honestly, I didn't even think anyone would notice.
Additionally, we found that they were spending money on things like private jets.
What?
And they even had a $130,000 contract with a former member of the Taliban.
Oh, hell no!
This is real. We don't encounter that at most agencies.
Yeah.
What was the money going to the Taliban for?
So as a contractor, they received $130,000 for generic services. And to Elon's point, there was not actually a clear description of what the contractor services were for. But
was it for opium?
Unclear.
Or weapons?
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
or abroad?
Or yeah, nothing.
And you naturally have to ask the question, well, how did we get here? Like when the country was founded, there were only 4 agencies. Today there are over 400. So there's been a 100x increase in the number of agencies since the founding of the nation. And thanks to President Trump, he's now signed 2 executive orders to start to reduce the number of agencies in the government, and the Institute of Peace was one of them, which is why our team went in to try and understand what was going on. And that's when we found all of the craziness, like the weapons in their armory. We found the payments to the Taliban.
Okay. Oh, hell no!
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
try to hide the evidence.
Right. So just a few hours after we got into their headquarters, we found that their chief accountant had actually deleted over 1 terabyte of accounting records from several years.
What?
So you'd have to ask the question, well, why would somebody do that? The Doge team, fortunately, was able to recover that data with the help of a few great employees at the Institute of Peace. And I think the most troubling thing was they received $55 million a year from Congress, and any money that went unspent, instead of returning that to Congress, they would sweep it into a private bank account, which had no congressional oversight. And that's what they would use to fund things like events at their headquarters and the private jets. And so I think it's a great example because most Americans don't know what's going on at a lot of these smaller agencies. And this is, I think, the most extreme case of some of the wasteful spend that we're finding.
So the agencies are hiding money from you. They're sending it to the Taliban. They have loaded weapons in the department buildings.
At the Institute of Peace.
At the Institute of Peace.
Yes.
That's right.
So this is a cover-up when you guys roll in.
This one, yes, a cover-up. Yes.
It's a cover-up.
No, they did delete a vast amount of financial information. That's really a definition of a cover-up.
Isn't that illegal to delete evidence?
Yes.
Shred documents?
It is. It's certainly illegal to delete accounting records that that Congress would certainly want to know where the congressionally appropriated funds are going from taxpayers.
When you catch them going Hillary style on their computers, do you refer this to the Department of Justice?
In this case, we did refer the evidence in the accounting example to the FBI and DOJ, and we were proud to do that. So yes, we did.
$55 million a year from Congress. And when they funded their projects, which are probably questionable at this point, instead of returning the money that was not spent to the rightful people, us, the taxpayers, they swept it into a private personal banking account, private jets, hotels, luxury jets, God knows what.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
Else, while me, and hundreds of millions of Americans were struggling day in and day out under Tombstone Vegetable-in-Chief Biden in an economy that made everything, the cost of eggs, the cost of gas, the cost of basic living items, necessities that we need to feed our kids, put clothes on their back, turn the heat on. We're struggling every single day. How could anybody, does it make sense now? All the hoorahing and the outrage and the yelling and the screeching and the, we're going to stop him, he's a Nazi, let's blow up Tesla deal. Does it make sense now?
A lot of great work at the Treasury this week. One of the crazy things with regards to the Treasury is that when a payment is made, and the computers at the Treasury actually pay about $5 trillion per year, like crazy amounts, there was formerly not a budget code on there. So if a payment was made, you didn't know actually what it was for. It could have been for anything. Yeah. There was a $4 billion COVID fund in the Department of Education, and there was no receipts required, so people could just draw down on it. And when people looked into it, this wasn't us, this was before us, they found that money was being used to rent out Caesar's Palace for parties, rent out stadiums, etc. And so the one change that Doge made with the Department of Education is we had the simple requirement that if you draw down money, you must first upload a receipt. That was the only change that was made. You must upload your receipt. And upon doing so, yes, nobody drew down any money anymore.
What? Yes, but we didn't say that we'd check the receipt. You could send a fake receipt. You could send a picture of your dog. Anything. Anything. But as soon as we asked for anything at all, suddenly the requests were like, oh, we don't need it anymore. Huh, that's interesting.
They were renting Caesar's Palace.
Yes, they were like basically partying on the taxpayer money.
Joe Biden is asleep. Kamala is at a dance party with Beyonce.
For parties, basically.
For parties?
Yes.
That's a big party.
Joe Biden is asleep. Kamala is at a dance party with Beyonce. 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 Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. 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 Party with Beyonce. 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 Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce.
It's a big party.
You'd think if you were stealing, you'd start small.
They do start small. But then what happens is over the years, so generally the fraud starts out small and they try to hide it. But then year after year, if nobody stops the fraud, it gets more and more brazen. And every year it gets bigger until they're literally renting out stadiums. Like
what's that, $1 million to rent out a stadium?
Fraud in flagrante delicto, okay? We're talking at scale.
This is driving me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
When you find these things, do you guys get mad? You're like, yes, I got one. How does it make you feel?
It's so common.
It's so common. You're like used to it. I mean, you just get
so numb to it.
Unfortunately, like the 100th time you've heard it, it's hard not to get a little numb.
Yeah.
You know, but and by the 200th time, you're like, well, okay, it's just another day at the office.
Absolutely unbelievable. I am livid right now, and you should be too. They want us to pay our taxes after they've taxed the money that we've already spent taxes, earning the money that's already been taxed, taxing this, taxing that. You want me to fill out my tax return every single April 15th and pay you to go on luxury vacations, to rent out stadiums for parties? I'm not laughing one bit. These guys can laugh. And I get it. It's a little levity and he's got a show to do. This isn't funny at all. And ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans, my fellow global citizens, this is just the beginning. They just started. Does all the pushback make sense now?